This day in history in 5 minutes or less. Welcome to this week's episode of This Day in History in 5 minutes or less. The topic that we're looking at today is actually May 22nd, 1906. The Wright Brothers are granted the U.S. patent number 821393 for their flying machine. It's an airplane. I am joined by my guest today, Larry Morris, who is an air traffic controller, and he's been an air traffic controller for over 10 years. So he's got a pretty interesting job for sure. Larry, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, so we're gonna
Yeah, you
power
texted
through
me
this like
pretty
real
late.
professionals. I like it. So Larry, what's the coolest thing about airplanes? You're around airplanes all day. What's the coolest thing about them?
One of my favorite things about, I guess, airplanes or aviation in general is like a lot of experimental airplanes that people literally build in their house, with the rivets and everything, and they kind of become their own certified mechanics or whatever. But I mean, there's a whole community of people just flying these home-built experimentals that you would think are, you know, fresh out of a plant or production plant or whatever. But no, they're built in a living room over years, and
That's
it's up.
absolutely wild. I did not know that that was something people did. I'm finding out right now. I'm hoping along with other guests, or people tuning in. I imagine like a boxcar with wings. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's literally what I picture when you
Some of
tell
them
me.
can look like that, and they could be made with fabric instead of metal. But I mean, the ones I like the most are kit planes. So it's kind of like putting together a just a giant model airplane, but you end up flying in it
That's pretty
for a
cool.
while.
And I would never get in one of those planes because I would not trust those
Oh, they're
people.
really fun.
That's really cool. That's really cool. What one of my favorite things about planes is the fact that you can fly in them. Like I think that's I think that's pretty
Defy
nifty.
gravity.
Yeah, it just defies gravity. Newton who? I think that's pretty cool. What now Wright brothers, they come from Dayton, Ohio. You also hail from Dayton, Ohio. So is there just something in the water there that makes people like really into building airplanes and
I
figuring
don't
that
know.
out?
Uh, I mean, I told you the other day, I get angry every time I see a North Carolina license plate with their first in flight, because I have, a general passion for aviation, and then like Dayton, Ohio is first in flight in my eyes. But
That's the name of their mascot, right? Like they're the Dayton Flyers.
yeah, University of Dayton, the Flyers.
Hey, I listen, I pulled that out. Sports, yay me. I like it. That's pretty cool. What's something you love about your job?
It's never the same. It's new every day. The same situation rarely happens twice, and you continue to just build on that knowledge. Like, oh, well, this experience today, it will help with tomorrow. Uh, and when you leave,
Can
you
you
leave.
give
That's probably the
can
best
you give
part.
us a sample? Can like okay, so I am I'm flying a plane right now and I call over the call sign because everything I'm picturing right now is definitely like Maverick and Goose related. So like I call over the call sign and you respond. Go.
Uh, oh, well, that's just impossible. Like, no, it's just kind of an example. Working emergencies or pilots, going through a distress situation if they're not qualified to fly in certain weather and they kind of get lost or having issues with their plane. Just having the confidence and ability to help get them out of that situation feels pretty rewarding when, they're like, oh, thank you so much. We were really in the soup and you kept us clear and this, that, the other. It's-
Is that a term you guys use in the soup?
yeah, when you're flying, when you're like in bad weather and can't see anything, just in the soup.
All right, I like it. Not specific kinds of soup. We haven't,
No, not
determined
like
what type
muscle
of soup.
ball versus tomato.
Okay. I like it. That's a lot of fun. Do you love, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love the show Wings? And is that why you do what you do?
I've probably seen 3 episodes when I was 7 years old, to be completely honest. I was more of a Seinfeld guy growing up.
Okay, I respect that. As a comedian, I respect that, but also I feel like you have homework now and you need to go back and like binge every episode.
I mean, I remember
Like,
it. I feel like it came on after Cheers or after reruns of MASH or
it
something. And
definitely came on after something. I also remember it coming on
but yeah,
after watching
it
something
might have
else.
been my bedtime back then.
I get that. I get that. Well, Larry, one question that all of the guests of the podcast get asked is if you could go back in time and kill anybody apart from Hitler, because Hitler's not a creative answer, but apart from Hitler, who are you taking out? Who we Nixon?
I'm going Lee Harvey Oswald.
Oh, okay.
And not because I'm like a huge JFK, like I don't really know anything about politics,
You don't know
but I just,
JFK.
well, it's just more of like I feel like that was like the spawn of all these conspiracy theorists. Like it all
Yeah,
just kind of branched from there, and some are kind of believable, I guess, or whatever. But I feel like if we just nixed that whole magic bullet and this, that, the other,
yeah.
and maybe JFK would have been around, and who knows if this place would have been better or worse, but we'd
And
have
he
less
had three
conspiracy
names.
theories.
Yeah,
They
he had
all
three
do.
names. So like for that reason alone, we should we should get rid of him. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being my guest on this very
Thank
silly
you for
episode about
having me.
airplanes today. You guys, this has been another edition of This Day in History in 5 minutes or less. Check out a new episode every Wednesday. Thanks so much.